So we're recording and we are live streaming to Facebook, just so everyone's aware. Let's see. Hi, this is Jennifer Prell. I am the president of Elderwerks Educational Services. Welcome. You might hear my dog snoring. I apologize. He's a little tired. He's old. So today, Chris Petrik is going to be talking about the benefits of laughter. Hopefully you all laugh out loud. I laugh all the time. I think laughing is the best part of my day. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Chris. Chris, you want to go ahead and take over, please?
Sure. Thank you, Jennifer. And, you know, before I get started, I need to do a little bragging. And if you're seeing this screen, the benefits of laughter, up here in the upper left-hand corner are 2 of my 7 grandchildren. This is Leo and this is Lydia. This was taken a couple of years ago. She's starting kindergarten remotely and he's starting 1st grade remotely. It's been a strange world for all of us, so we need to talk about laughter and how it can change things for us. So my name is Chris Petrik. I'm a registered nurse. I'm the training specialist for Elderwerks, and I've been in healthcare a very long time. And I like to say I started when the dinosaurs did, but I started in healthcare when the nurses did the cleaning too. So it's been a long time. We're going to talk about the benefits of laughter today. And before we really get started, we always need a good baby laugh. Where's my baby laugh? There we go. All right. A baby laugh is always a good way to start anything because it does make you laugh. I used to run a laughter group at one of the continuing care communities I worked at, and we always started with baby laughs when we met, and we would do just a few minutes of baby laugh and then kind of get our inside warmed up for the exercises and you know, the experiences that we would have during our laughter club. So today we're going to talk about laughter, and we're going to talk about the difference between laughter and humor, because there is a difference between those, the physical benefits of laughter, because there are many of them, and the psychological benefits of laughter, of course, many benefits of that, and then introduce you to some laughter exercises. So why laughter? Why now? Well, I don't know if you want to add to this list, but it's been a pretty gloomy 2020 so far. Wouldn't you agree that with the pandemic and no end in sight in that, to unemployment and the loss of businesses, to violence across the country, this really seems a perfect time to talk about laughter and maybe laugh away some of the stress we may be feeling from the collision of these events. So let's talk about the difference between laughter and humor. Well, laughter is a sound, the expression of merriment, joy through a chuckle, of explosive noise, while humor is a subjective psychological phenomenon, and it's a shift of perception. While many times they work together, we can still laugh without finding something funny. For example, when we see someone fall, why do we laugh? The first requirement in laughing is the play frame, and that puts a real life event in a non-serious content and allows for atypical psychological reaction. Play frames explain why most people will not find it comical if someone falls from a 10-story building and dies. They're not going to laugh at that. What they're going to laugh at is someone walking down the street who trips and stumbles and moves back and forth and falls into a mud puddle. That's the play frame that establishes that that's funny, because they're assuming that no one's going to get hurt from that. Another crucial characteristic of laughing when someone's falling is it can be the improbable or inconsistent relationship between the punchline and the body of the joke or the experience. So falls are incongruent in the normal course of life, that they are unexpected. So despite our innate empathetic reaction, our incongruity instinct may be more powerful and provide that the fall event establishes a play frame of mirth and laughter. So where does laughter come from? Laughter, first of all, is a form of audible speech. Laughter then comes from what they call the Broca area of the brain. And laughter, just so you know, initiates in the brain, and it typically initiates in the left frontal lobe. The left frontal lobe understands the actual words and appears to be attracted to the wordplay. So that's kind of where your laughter starts. It tends to be literal in developing an interpretation of a joke, and it's also responsible for the sense of amusement and trigger laughter when something prompts it to do so. So the laughter and the humor is all going to start in the brain. Humor, though, a little bit different, appears to be centered in the right frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is alert to the subtleties, the nuances, and then pulls those threads together in order to get the joke or the meaning. However, a fully rounded sense of humor requires the combined efforts of both hemispheres. And that's why sometimes when someone has a brain injury or maybe they have dementia, you'll see maybe some inappropriate laughing. Okay, and that again, it's because of the damage to the brain that causes that. When I was doing my research, I found this kind of interesting. I came across this chart by Arlene Taylor, who's a PhD and works, and her work is to research laughter. Wouldn't you want that job? What she found were some subtle differences in what makes the male brain react and laugh and the female brain. So the female brain enjoys jokes about childbirth and children. Women have more of a dry sense of humor. They're more likely to laugh at jokes at their own expense, and I do that all the time. Enjoys jokes about relationships and gender differences, typically tend to be turned off by graphically dirty humor, and they like Seinfeld, Cheers, and Family Ties. And if you look at these all have something about relationships. And women are all about relationships. So that's why they tend to gravitate towards that humor. Different than the male brain, and they're more likely to enjoy slapstick or silly humor. They typically respond to dirtier or cruder humor, are more likely to laugh at jokes at others' expense, tend to be less patient with longer prologues. So, you know, they're kind of get to the punchline, where women can take talk about jokes that have long punchlines. You know, the men want to get right to the point. They tend to like anything physical and aggressive. So they like the Three Stooges, they like the Simpsons, John Cleese, and Home Improvement. So that's the difference between men and women humor. We've got two that we're going to show here that, and then we'll kind of talk about which one that you enjoyed.
No. All right, girls. Now, this is your last chance. If one piece of candy gets past you and into the packing room unwrapped, you're fired.
Yes, ma'am.
Let her
Oh, this is easier. Yeah, we can handle it, okay?
Okay, a couple of things about that clip. Lucille Ball really appealed to both male and female because there was a little bit of slapstick in it, And it was relational. You know, she had a relation with Fred and Ethel, and of course Ricky. But at least almost every episode had, like this one, had a little bit of slapstick in that. I'm sure everyone has seen this, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The other thing I want to mention to you is that in the background you can hear the laugh track. And what I have noticed since the pandemic, I'm a Stephen Colbert fan, and I find him amazingly funny, or I should say I did find him amazingly funny until the pandemic. There are some comedians that actually need an audience to play off of, and he's one of them. He's not funny. I've stopped watching him. My humor towards him has changed. And so sometimes it's, you know, other people laughing. And I think that's with Stephen Colbert. He needs that audience to react to him, to laugh, to bring on more jokes. So, you know, that's something we'll talk about in a minute. But let's go on to the next one. And I'm sure everyone remembers this one. Whoops.
Well, just a minute on that. All right, here. Okay, now let's see. You want to pull your tooth out. P-U-L-L. Full tooth. T-O-T-O-T-H. Here we are. Pull your tooth out. Boy, this is going to hurt. If it's going to hurt, please give me something to kill the pain. Yeah, okay, well, got some Novocaine right here. Just hold on that, Mel. Let's see how this works here. Okay, Novocaine. Here we are, Novocaine. Take a firm hold of the hypodermic needle. Right. There'll be a little bit of pain, and then numbness will set in.
We could go on. I'll tell you that Tim Conway and Harvey Korman were the best together. They played off each other. And, you know, at one point, if we played this long enough or you saw this episode, Harvey Korman just cracks up. And I was telling Jennifer before this started that, you know, and humor is so subjective that, but that's what makes me laugh is when I see comedians laughing. That to me is the funny part because they are the artists. And if one comedian can make another comedian laugh, they're perfect. But I'm going to ask you, if you had to pick between, whoops, let's go back a minute. I don't want you to see that yet. If we had to pick between those two episodes, go ahead and put in the chat, which one do you prefer and why? Go ahead to the chat and put in there, which one do you prefer and why? I can't get my chat. Here we go.
Well, just a minute on that. All right, here. Okay, now.
you go. Anybody have any answers? Oh, Lucille Ball, you're right. She was funny. You know, part of a good comedian, Lucille, because I can relate to her. And that's the other thing about comedy, is that you have to be able to relate to it. Love them both, but Tim Conway, I love to watch him with Harvey Korman. Yeah, they really play off each other, and again, they make me laugh, and you relate to it. I know my husband liked, he went and saw, I bought him tickets because I knew I would enjoy it, for him and a friend to go see Spam-A-Lot, because that English humor, I just don't get it. It's not part of my brain, and so I don't get it. And yet my husband can sit there and laugh all day about English humor. So, you know, laughter is something that we all have, but humor is very subjective. So let's talk about the benefits of laughter, because there really are a lot of them. So physicians and researchers have long known that stress weakens the immune system, leaving you more vulnerable to illness. Only in about the 1980s, however, did researchers begin to study the positive impact of humor and laughter on the immune system. Our sense of humor provides a powerful antidote to immunosuppressive effects of stress in two ways. Number one, it indirectly affects resulting from humor's ability to help you cope in the tough days, minimizing the negative impact of stress on your body and the direct positive effects on the immune system. So it has an indirect and a direct effect, because as soon as you start laughing, you're producing the good, the non-stress cells, and so you're suppressing the bad stress cells. So it stimulates those antibodies. It also increases T cell count, which are the cells of the immune system that kill outside invading bacteria harmful to the body. And it helps the immune system work faster and more efficiently, and reduces immunosuppressant hormones. So the immune system is very, very complex. But basically what it does is it releases the endorphins, which are the good immune cells, and then and the T cell, and it decreases the bad cells, the cortisols. Okay, and we probably have had a lot of cortisol being released in our body over the last few months because of this pandemic. That's why it's really important, while we are able to get out a little bit, wear our masks, and try to stay our 6 to 10 feet apart from people, but get out and enjoy the fresh air and get that vitamin D, because that's going to help our immune system, and enjoy the laughter that you may have with your friends. The risk of cellular decay slows down the rate of aging. And if we look at some of these comedians up here, we know George Burns lived to be 100. Betty White is still working, and she's in her late 90s. Jack Benny died in his late 90s. Phyllis Diller, I think, was in her mid 90s when she died. So we look at all these people, and they spent their life laughing. They not only produced laughter in other people, but they enjoyed the comedy of other people, and that was very helpful for them. So there's no evidence that humor and laughter add years to your life, but they certainly add life to your years. The other thing that laughter does is it enhances the blood oxygen volume and boosts circulation. It also decreases your risk of heart attacks. When you laugh, your heart rate increases and you take many deep breaths. This means that you're more oxygenated, your blood is more oxygenated, and it circulates better through your body, improving vascular function. It also prevents heart disease, because improved vascular function and circulation can also help reduce your risk of heart disease. Proper blood flow keeps your heart working at a steady pace. It reduces your blood pressure, because when those endorphins are released, to counteract the negative effects of stress hormones, your body relaxes, and that lowers your blood pressure. The combination of these feel-good hormones with the lowered blood pressure improves your mood, eases anxiety, and takes tension off your heart. So again, it lowers your blood pressure. So here's how it improves heart and cardiac. Also, it improves your lungs because it helps provide longer exhalation, which rids the body of residual air, enriching the blood, and it helps clears the mucus plugs through good ventilation. You have cilia in your lungs and through your respiratory system, and those cilia are these little fibers that help filter things out. And if you don't expand your lungs well enough, that mucus will stay down there, and that's when we are more prone to infections. That's why they've talked about for people who are in the hospital with COVID, they're doing a lot of respiratory treatment on them because they want to get this bad stuff out of their lungs. And so it's really important, I think, at this time of our life to laugh, because that laughter will help clear a lot of that mucus and enrich that blood that's going to be circulated through your body. It also helps your lymphatic system, and your lymphatic system is really part of your immune system, and it helps circulate more lymphatic hormones and the good cells throughout your body. Laughter carries away toxins found in the eyes through tears of laughter. It also increases antibodies in saliva that combats upper respiratory infection. So increasing your saliva not only helps decrease respiratory infection, but increased saliva also helps prevent tooth decay. And tooth decay, they now know, can be very much related to heart disease. So you're really doing your body a favor in two different ways with laughter and increasing that salivation. It's also linked to lower blood sugar levels after meals of type 2 diabetics. So there was a researcher who was looking at laughter, and he looked at type 2 diabetics, and typically these are people that were diabetics older in life, and most often they're not on insulin, but they still have to take something to regulate their blood sugar. And the results showed that there was a significant suppression in the increase in a 2-hour, what they call postprandial. So what they did was they had everybody eat, they had these diabetics eat, and then they waited 2 hours, and then they showed them, in between that 2 hours, they showed them a comedy show. And the control group, there were people that didn't see a comedy show, and there were people that saw a comedy show. And the people that saw the comedy show had a lower 2-hour blood sugar than the people who did not. So it is possible that positive emotions such as laughter can act on the neuroendocrine system and suppress the elevation of blood glucose levels. Laughter also aids in the secretion of an enzyme that protects the stomach from forming ulcers. So if you're someone that's prone to forming ulcers, you may want to think about laughing before or after your meal to make sure that it secretes that enzyme. And we know that they're saying that the stomach is our second brain now. So we really need to think about keeping that as healthy as we do our brain, because it has a lot of negative side effects as well. So laughter does impact that positively. Laughter stimulates both hemispheres of the brain at the same time. So it's good for your brain health, and it gives you a high level of brain processing at the time you are laughing at something. So really, it's coordinating all the senses and producing this unique level of consciousness. So again, it stimulates the brain. It also eases muscle tension, which is good for rheumatism, arthritis. It stimulates muscles and relaxes muscle tension, often resulting in diminished pain. And they've done a lot of studies with, I think, Norman Cousins and Patch Adams, and they were the kind of the two gurus that looked at laughter and said, if we can make people laugh during the worst part of their life, which is cancer and chemotherapy, maybe we can reduce their pain often associated with cancer and chemotherapy. And maybe we can also give a better outcome. And actually, I just had news from a friend that she has a lump in her clavicle. And of course, the first thing she did was get on the internet, which I always advise people not to do because it'll have you dead and buried in minutes. And so she's very anxious because she knows some of the things that can be. And so she's having tests. And I said, what I want you to do between now and the test is I want you to start visualizing positive, visualizing whatever you think those negative things are out of your body. Be with your grandchildren as much as you can because they make you laugh. Watch a funny movie, but get those endorphins and those positive thoughts moving in your body to look for a better outcome. And it's been proven by Norman Cousins and Patch Adams that laughter does decrease the amount of pain someone is experiencing. So again, it's good for that as well. It reduces cortisol, and I mentioned that before, and that's a hormone that causes stress. If any of you have noticed a gain of weight in the middle part of your body in the last 6 months, that is because and you've had some anxiety about what's been going on in America, it's probably because you're releasing more cortisol. Cortisol is released when you have stress. And what it does is it releases the cortisol and a lot of times it sits in the fat cells in your belly. And that's not a good thing because that also increases your risk for heart attack. So you want to decrease that cortisol. And one way you can do that is by laughter. And again, it increases the endorphins, and that's the body's own natural opiates that make you happy. And when Norman Cousins and Patch Adams were doing their research and their work on laughter, they found that the release of endorphins released as many opiates as someone would find in the relief of morphine. And that's pretty substantial. It also releases the catecholamine levels, which are known to boost mental function. It improves mental alertness. It improves memory, and it improves your interpersonal responses. And interpersonal responses is really talking about laughter as a social mechanism. We make friends and connect with others through laughter. Who does not want to be in a room with someone that's funny? And laughter changes your perspective. You know, I tell a story. I was a labor and delivery nurse for 20 years. And times people used to say, oh, it's a wonderful place to work. When things go right, it can be very, very happy. But when it's busy, and you have 10 people in labor and you don't have enough nurses, or you've got some people that you know are going to have some negative outcomes, it can be a very stressful place. Well, one day when it was quiet, we were cleaning a closet because, like I said, back then nurses did the cleaning, and we found a life-size poster of, and this is going to sound strange to you, we found a life-size poster of Elvis in a closet. And what we did one day out of the blue is it was a very busy night at work. And we, at the door of the nurses' lounge, we pasted Elvis up there, and we claimed those evenings that it was real busy, Viva Las Labor Nights. Okay, sounds strange, but what that did was it changed our perspective, and it improved our attitudes, and it made us laugh. And it was kind of a thing that we all would, talk about amongst ourselves. We never went into a patient's room and said, hey, this is Viva Las Labor Night. But changing the perspective sometimes makes you laugh. And I encourage all of you to do that during this time where, we're looking at an election, we're looking at people with job loss, we're looking at people who may be getting sick or have been sick. with COVID that we really need. It's important for us to change our perspective. So it changes our interpersonal responsiveness. It improves our memory and our mental alertness. It just really does help. It brings about an emotional high, which enables problems to be seen from a different perspective, which I just talked about, especially those of a stressful, whoops, where did I hit my mouse there? So it is seen from a different perspective, especially in stressful times. Okay. Also reduces the level of certain stress hormones. We talked about that. We talked about endorphins and the neurotransmitters are in your brain, and they help the synapses, which and the synapses go from brain cell to brain cell and connect thoughts and reactions. So, you know, that's really important too, and that's how it improves your mental alertness. We talked about increasing pain tolerance. It also burns calories. Laughing for 10 to 15 minutes a day can burn about 40 calories. So, you know, there's that extra piece of candy you may want. If you want a piece of candy, laugh before you have it. We talked about easing anxiety and tension, relief stress, improves mood, it shifts the perspective, and it stops those distressing emotions. So I already talked about Norman Cousin. I kind of jumped ahead on those because I find them extremely interesting. What's the social benefits of laughter? It really strengthens your relationships. It attracts others to us. It enhances teamwork, and it helps diffuse conflict, and it promotes group bonding. And that's exactly what that Viva Las Labor Night did for us, is it promoted group bonding. And we worked better as a team. We were able to unite because every time we saw that picture of Elvis on the door of our changing room, which was right outside of labor and delivery, we could see that from where we were at the nurses station. We knew that we were all in this together, and we had better times when that happened. And so we knew when we walked on, if it was going to be a bad night, we needed to find Elvis because he was going to change the perspective. And really, it can be anything or anybody that your group finds that they can bond. Okay, so what about laughter being contagious? Is laughter contagious? We usually encounter positive emotions such as laughter or cheering in group situations, whether watching a comedy program with family or a football game with friends. This response in the brain automatically primes us to smile or laugh, provides a way of mirroring the behaviors of others, and sometimes helps us interact socially. It can play an important role in building strong bonds between individuals in a group. And I have, you know, when I was going through this last night, I always like to go through the night before and make sure my videos work. I was playing this and my husband walked by and he said, "What are you doing?" And he stood there and he laughed at this too, because laughter is contagious.
We can all be impatient, but there's one annoyed Ohio pup that's getting national attention. Take a look at this. That is Diamond. A couple had stopped at the subway in Grove City for some lunch when they saw this little dog barking and honking at its owner to hurry up. By the way, Diamond's owner was only inside for just a few minutes. The video was posted on Facebook. Turns out this is not the first time Diamond has caused a ruckus. The pup has been seen around town doing this.
That is hilarious.
Todd's about to lose it. But seriously, what a sassy dog.
I love the boss.
I'm sure many of you out there are laughing.
This is why we can't show Todd pet stories coming up the Lego fringe.
Laughter is contagious. Let me just make sure this doesn't start again.
We can all be impatient,
Okay.
but there's one annoyed Ohio pup.
So seeing emotional expressions such as smile and laughter in someone else often triggers that corresponding emotional response in the watcher. This may be a basic element of social interaction, synchronizing a common emotional state in all members of a group whose brains process what they see of the environment around them in a similar situation. And again, how many people have laughed at someone else laughing? I think there's not a person out there that has not experienced that. So let's talk a little bit about babies in laughter. In early infancy, it's reflexive, which means it's just a natural reflex. You know, when you see a newborn smile, someone will say, oh, that baby's smiling at me. And some people will say, oh, the baby is dreaming happy thoughts. And other people will say, oh, the baby has gas. And so, you know, everybody has their own reason why they think a baby smiles, but really it's a reflective action and a way to bond and to be social. Babies also laugh out of fear. How many of you laugh when you're anxious? You know, how many of you have been in church and something caught you funny and then you can't stop laughing because you know you need to stop laughing and you're anxious about it and it just makes you laugh harder? Babies don't laugh at the stimulus alone. They need to have it to be accompanied by someone else. So really what that means is that if I took something funny and put it in front of a baby, they're not going to laugh at it. But if I put something in front of a baby and I'm with them, and we'll see a baby tearing paper. If the baby was tearing the paper themselves, they wouldn't find it funny. But because the dad is tearing the paper, it's funny. So they have to be accompanied by someone else in order to laugh at that. They laugh out also as a need to bond and be social. First laugh for babies are about 2 to 4 months. And around the age of 4 months, a baby will start to laugh at things they can hear and see. Babies laugh an average of 300 times per day, while adults laugh only 15 minutes per day. I have 7 grandchildren, and my youngest, Jake, is he's 2.5, and he is the happiest kid ever. And I can spend 10 minutes with him and change my perspective because he has the best laugh. And all he has to do is throw a ball in the pool, or take something and chuck it across the backyard, or take a truck and listen to the noise from the truck, and it makes him laugh. And I laugh along with him. So we need to take lessons from our babies and laugh more. Here's our baby ripping paper. Last laugh. Okay. And again, it wouldn't be funny if that baby was ripping the paper herself, or her, yeah, Pink, I think it's a girl, herself. But it's funny because the dad is there, and a baby needs, you know, I guess an accomplice to help them laugh with something like that, at that age at least. So the next question is, do animals laugh? Studies find that yes, some mammals do laugh, specifically dogs, dolphins, and believe it or not, rats. The studies suggest that it may not sound exactly like a human laugh, but all noted there was a response to something that was humorous. And this dog's laugh is the best. All right. Did that sound like a human laugh or what? Here's our dolphin laugh. about you, I think dolphins always look happy. Maybe it's the shape of their snout or whatever, but they do always look happy. Of course, if you got to swim all day and, we're fed 3 meals, maybe we'd all be happy. Let's talk about some of the fun facts, and then we'll talk about laughter groups. You can die laughing. If you initiate enough muscles in your chest laughing and your diaphragm spasms and you can't get air in, you could die laughing. Does it happen? No. You were born with a sense of humor. Everyone has their own sense of humor, and you're born with that. It's part of your personality. Fake laughter is as helpful as real laughter. We know that through our laughter groups, that we don't have to laugh at anything in particular, that we can initiate a laugh. And when we initiate a laugh and we see other people laughing, then we laugh more. People are 3 times more likely to laugh with a group than alone. So if you're watching TV, if we were all watching, I Love Lucy and we're watching by ourselves, we may chuckle. But typically, if you're sitting there watching with someone else, you're going to laugh out loud. Laughter happens over social responses, 15% more than actual jokes. So they laugh at what other people are saying, or they laugh at someone tripping, or they laugh at something going on in the room with other people, but only 15% of laughter is created from actual jokes. Couples who laugh together stay together. We've been married almost 45 years now. And, my husband said that one of the things that attracted him to me was my sense of humor. And I love his laugh. Now, can I tell you that there's been days that, I've wanted to, push him out the door. I think with every married couple, you find that you have your disagreements, but we do laugh a lot together. And I know other couples that laugh a lot together stay together. You can't make yourself laugh by tickling. Tickling stimulates a response in the brain because it is an outside touch. It's not you touching yourself, but also it's social. So there's 2 things in there that cause you not to laugh at tickling yourself. So what have you heard about laughter groups? Laughter groups are really initiated by a group of people, and it is a group of people that get together for the prime sense of laughing together. There's laughter exercises, there's laughter therapy groups, there's just laughter groups, there's something called laughter yoga. In any one of those groups, it is clapping in a rhythm. And the one that I learned, I'm not certified anymore, but when I was leading a laughter group, I actually went to a class and learned how to do that. And the class that I went to, we always started our laughter with ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. And we would do that 3 times. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. And we would clap at the same time. So you may hear me clapping. Actually, I'm going to take you off of, okay, so I'm going to put you here. And we would do this. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Yay! Okay, and why we did that, the thought process behind that is you're starting to fill the lungs up, you're getting exercise in your lungs, you're starting to move your hands, you're breathing and stretching. So why don't you try that with me in a second. We'll start right now, and we're going to do the ho ho's, ha ha ha's, and then we're going to do the handshake and do yay with me. Okay, ready? Ho ho, ha ha ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Yay! Obviously done better in a group than by yourself. But if you're trying it at home right now, that's wonderful. That would get us going. And then we would do some laughter that would initiate some childlike like play. And I think on this next video, I'm going to stop myself and I'm going to go to the next one. And you're going to see this group do something. Maybe. There we go. This is what they call a yoga class.
Welcome to 15 minutes laughter yoga. Laughter yoga is breathing, stretching, and of course, laughter exercise. You just lean your head back and you just laugh silent up in the air like this. Take a look. Close our mouth and we just say, instead of getting angry when you argue, you just meet each other like this, and then you argue like this. We often take ourselves too serious and we have to be perfect and do everything right. But this time we're just gonna laugh at ourselves. So everyone take their fingers and then we point it at ourselves like this. You find your paycheck in your left hand like this, and then you show me what it says, the number in the bottom of your paycheck like this. It's not really an exercise, it's just connecting and letting go. If you can't get started in this this free laughter, I just want to give you a tip that you can use here and many other places in your life as well. And it's called fake it until you make it.
I really feel so much relaxed now, and that was a really good burst of energy.
It was surprisingly fun. It was a little difficult to start, where it was like the fake it till you make it, like Thomas said, and then all of a sudden, like things were just going. As some people just have really funny laughs in the room, and you just go crazy, like you can't help it. So that was really cool.
I really felt that I had let go of something. It was de-stressing.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is I'm going to start from the beginning, and I'm going to have everybody work through this exercise. Before we do that, Jen, if you can unmute everybody, because I think it'll be important that we hear everybody's laughter. And before we do this, we're going to do the ho, ho, ha, 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 yay. And then I'm going to start the video, and we're going to start doing these exercises. And again, no one can see you right now. Don't be embarrassed. I want to hear everybody laughing because if we can hear the laughter, it's going to be contagious. But if there's a laughter group in your area, or you may want to start one yourself, it's really a good experience. What those people said is true, and the residents that I worked at used to say that they felt it was usually done before lunch. They felt better at lunch, they had more clarity, and they enjoyed their meals more. So let's start with the hot. Jen, able to turn can you turn the mute off?
I unmuted everybody. They have to unmute themselves now.
Okay, so everybody unmute yourselves. Then let's do ha ha ho ho ho, okay? So I'll actually what I'm going to do is turn my video back on during that, and then we'll go right to the exercises. All right, so let's begin. Ha, ha, ho, 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 ha, ha, ho, 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 ha, ha, ho, ho, ho. Yay! That's always a good warm up. So let's do these exercises now with them.
Welcome to 15 minutes laughter yoga. Laughter yoga is breathing, stretching, and of course, laughter exercise. You just lean your head back and you just laugh silent up in the air like this. Take a look. Close our mouth and we just say,
Yeah, to let it go. It's silly.
Instead of getting angry when you argue, you just meet each other like this, and then you argue like this. We often take ourselves too serious and have to be perfect and do everything right. But this time we're just gonna laugh at ourselves. So everyone take their fingers and then we point it at ourselves. Like this.
Why is it pausing?
Laughter yoga is breathing. Close our mouth and we just say,
Argument laughter. I like this one.
Instead of getting angry when you argue, you just meet each other like this, and then you argue like this.
Scary left off. Self-laughter.
We often take ourselves too serious and have to be perfect and do everything right. But this time we're just gonna laugh at ourselves. So everyone take their fingers and then we point it at ourselves like this.
This is my favorite because everyone needs to make more than I
Find
do.
your paycheck in your left hand like this, and then you show me what it says, the number in the bottom of your paycheck like this. It's not really an exercise, it's just connecting and letting go. If you can't get started in this this free laughter, I just want to give you a tip that you can use here and many other places in your life as well. And it's called fake it until you make it.
I really feel so much relaxed.
Silliness, absolutely. You know, when I first started our laughter groups, people were not inclined to participate, and we had people from independent living, they were cognitively intact, to people who had dementia and were in memory care. And you know, laughter is a basic thing, so we were able to bring those groups together very well, and they both got the same enjoyment out of it. These laughter exercises, and there's many out there, and different laughter clubs, can be done sitting in a wheelchair. They can be done sitting in a chair. So, you know, to say that I'm not mobile enough to get up and move around the room, all of those can be adapted to sitting. So it's really important to get a good chuckle once in a while. So in the words of Kurt Vonnegut, laughter and tears are both responses to frustration and exhaustion. I myself prefer to laugh since there is less cleaning up to do afterwards. And so I leave you today with the opportunity to do a little bit of laughing. Find something funny today that, you know, you can laugh about, whether it be watching the Golden Girls on replay or again, Lucille Ball. There's always something out there to laugh about, and to keep yourself healthy. It's really, really important to do that. So I thank you for your time. Hopefully you learned something from this and had a little bit of laughter and joy in your life. And I appreciate being here. So any questions? I will take those now.
I did unmute everybody, but I don't see anybody's.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We did get a comment. This was really great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well,
Appreciate
laughter is always fun. I like laughing.
Yeah. Really great. Thank you.
Anything
All
else?
right.
Anybody else have anything? No? Okay.
All right.
Stop the recording here. And stop.